Hey family, so today we're making some bread and I will put the recipe in the caption. I already have all my dried ingredients here, which is the flour, the salt, the sugar, and now I'm adding the eggs. And what you do is you add one egg, you mix for 2 minutes, and then you add the second egg and mix for another 2 minutes. So you're gonna see that mixing for a little bit, and then what I'm gonna do is add the oil, and what I use is coconut oil, and I will show you a picture of it here in a bit. I use coconut oil because it is my favorite to use in bread. Here it comes, kind of slow. There it is. That's the one I use, and I love it. And then the yeast. That's the yeast I use. I do not use instant. I use that one. And then now here it is after it's already risen. I'll put the recipe for the yeast in the description below as well. But this is the best way, the best one that I like that I've used several. And this one really plumps up the bread really, really nice. So I'm adding the yeast, and then I'm gonna mix for another 3 minutes, and while I get everything else ready to go. And that's what it's gonna look like with everything except for the water. All the ingredients are in there except for the water. You mix it like that for about 3 minutes, and then I'm gonna add water, warm water. I love this tea kettle. I'll link it below, you guys. That's the best tea kettle I've ever used. So we're gonna add 1 cup of water, from 3/4 cup to a cup of water. You can gauge it. You can add 3/4 cup, and if it looks like you need more, then add another 1/4 of a cup of water. That is the best tea kettle I've ever used. I bought it in 2017 or 18. I don't even know if they sell it anymore, but I will find one that's similar, and I'll link it below so that you can order it if you like. It's very affordable, and I absolutely love it. So then that's gonna mix. Once you add the water, it's gonna mix for 10 to 12 minutes in the mixer while it's all coming together, as you see right there. So 10 to 12 minutes, it's gonna mix, and then you're going to, you could either just like that, cover it up and let it sit for 15 minutes, or you can take it out like I'm doing right there, and I'm just gonna kind of make it into a ball and put it right back in the mixer bowl and let it sit for 15 minutes to let it rise for a little bit. So just let it sit to rest for about 15 minutes, cover it up, and then after the 15 minutes, by the way, that's the hardest stuff to work with right there, is that cling wrap. That and parchment paper. If anybody knows an easy way to do that, let me know. But so cover it up for 15 minutes. In the meantime, I'm getting the parchment paper in these little pans. I think these are 8-inch pans, maybe. They're not the long ones. They're like the mini, like a mini one. Not mini, but I want to say they're 7 or 8-inch. I need to look. I'll put it in the description also. But so I've got my pans ready, and once that sits for 15 minutes, then you're going to take it out and you're going to put it in the pot or in the container that you're going to let it rise for anywhere from 1.5 hours to 2 hours. I would say minimum 1.5 hours, maximum 2 hours. I'm using my Dutch oven to do it, to let it rise. So I'm just going to cover the top with ghee, or you can use butter or oil, just very, very little, just so it doesn't crust, which it may not anyway. But I just always do this because I feel it gives it a good glossy look. But just put it in there, cover it up really good, again with the cling wrap paper, and it's gonna sit anywhere from 1.5 hours to 2 hours. And you'll see it come out here. Oh, well, in the meantime, actually, I'm gonna make the egg wash. So I make my egg wash with 1 egg, 1 tablespoon of water, and just a pinch of salt, and then mix it up really, really well. So that just gives it a really good glossy look to the bread. And you'll see just a little pinch of salt. And some people, instead of adding water, add milk. I've never tried it like that, but maybe I will next time. And then you just mix it up really good and let it sit until I try to use room temperature eggs. So first thing I do before I start baking my bread is get the eggs out of the fridge and just let them sit. So then that's going to sit for a while. And now this is the first batch that I did. That's why it's in a different bowl. But this is the first batch that I did. It's been proofed for 2 hours. And that's my favorite part. Put your knuckles in it and just let all the air out. So then what we're going to do is we're going to use a scale. The scale that I have, again, guys, I've had all my stuff for a long time. I don't think they sell it anymore. But I will find a good scale that I've used. I've got a couple of them. But and what I do is I weigh out the balls. I make little balls of it. And I weigh out 140 grams. So this is because I'm making loaves of bread. If I was making like challah bread, or if I was making individual little like pieces of bread, like the size of a biscuit or something like that, I would weigh 70 to 75 grams. But since I'm going to be making bread that we're going to slice up like for sandwiches and stuff like that, I weigh out 140 grams. And there you see the dough that's going to sit and rest for 15 minutes after you make the dough balls. So now they've sat for 15 minutes, and then they rise a little bit more. I'm going to sit here and all I do is just make them flat with my fingers, and then I'm going to use a rolling pin. You don't have to use a rolling pin. Some people do, some people don't. I like to, again, because it gives the finished bread a smoother surface look. Again, it doesn't affect the taste at all. It's simply for how it looks. So I use a rolling pin because I prefer to do that, but it's not necessary. Once you roll it out, really, it's still really thick. You just want to roll it out, I don't know, I would say maybe 5 inches in diameter or whatever, or 4 inches, something like that. And then you're going to just roll it up like you would roll up a cigar, like just a piece of paper or something. Just roll it up from one edge, roll it all the way to the other edge. And then you're just going to pinch it where it comes together, just to get rid of like the crease. And that's kind of what I'm doing there. It's hard to see, but you just kind of pinch it together. And then just roll it a couple times there before you let it sit again and proof for another probably 15 minutes. So you're going to do that with all of the dough balls that you just made, and there they are. So you're going to let them sit for 10 or 15 minutes, and then you're going to grab them and put the bread, make the braid for the bread. And I'm using the 3 strands, so they've risen again. So I'm just spreading them out. I'm going to put the 3 strands together. And all you do is you pinch it on the top. That's the second strand. And there's the third one. So you just pinch it off the top. You put them together on the top, all 3 strands. And then you basically just make a braid like you would braid your hair. Just a regular braid. The three strand braid is very easy. It's just basically like you braid your hair. So that's what it's going to look like. And then you just braid it. And you already have your pans ready with the parchment paper. So you braid it, put it in the pan. And we prefer to do this. I prefer to make our bread. We try not to buy bread anymore. We prefer to make our own. And so I travel a lot for my job. But when I'm home, and as much as I can, I make bread. And so today I was able to make 4 loaves. So then you just put it in the pan and do an egg wash. You'll see me do an egg wash on there. And then that's going to proof. It's going to sit for 45 minutes. So they're going to proof. There's a lot of proofing that goes into this bread. That's the most time-consuming part of this whole process, is the proofing. So now I've got my 2 loaves. There's the second one. It's going in the second pan. And they're going to sit, like I said, for 45 minutes. I did have 3 smaller dough balls, so I'm going to make those as individual little breads, and you will see those at the end. So now these have proofed for 45 minutes, and you're going to see how much they've risen. Again, they were, see how big and plump and fat they are. So they rose up really, really pretty. And so after the 45 minutes, they're going in the oven at 350 degrees for 30 minutes. Now, some people do a second egg wash right before they go into the oven. I did it this time. Sometimes I don't. I don't think it's necessary. It's up to you however you want to do it or not. There's the first loaf that came out. Really, really pretty. I love braided bread. And there is the second loaf. And then you'll see the 3 little small ones that I made with the extra dough. These are 70-gram dough balls. And there you go. So here you go. This is how it comes out. You pull it apart. It is the best, straight out of the oven with a little bit of butter. And we use the Kerrygold Irish butter. That's real butter. I put some of that on there, and then just a little bit of some local honey. And man, is that good. That is the best, straight out of the oven with butter and honey. Delicious. And there you go. That's how they look. And there's one of the individual little breads. How cute is that? And I will put all the instructions in the link below.